Hey everyone, this is Kelly Cahoot and I'm here for catscrappiness.com. Today I'm sharing some thank you cards with you, some winter themed thank you cards. I'd love for my kids to send out thank you cards after they've received Christmas gifts from grandparents or great-grandparents or neighbors. And so I began working on these. It's two designs using this honeybee stamps Let It Snow stamp set. I'm going to use that cute little snowman and then all of the snowflake designs that came in the set. I pulled all of the snowflakes and I'm going to arrange those onto one acrylic block. I wanted to arrange them so that I could kind of twist and turn it and not have to stamp all those one by one, because I'm going to cover two different backgrounds. I'm going to end up doing an embossed resist background with white embossing powder. So I'm going to ink those snowflakes up with Versamark sticky ink and then just stamp those randomly. And I can kind of turn it around. That way I don't get the same design and the same pattern all over the paper. So what I like to do, because you can't see that sticky ink, I like to ink it up a few times and stamp that down and then add some of the embossing powder, and then those snowflakes are going to pop out, as you can see there. And then you can stamp the rest of your design, add your embossing powder, and then when you're finished you can heat set the whole thing. And that way you can see where your powder is going, and that way you don't overlap your designs. So I heat set the whole thing, and I did this again. I did it on both backgrounds. I'm going to do two different techniques for the background, but I did the stamping the same way. So for this first background, I'm going to do some smushing with some distress ink and water. So I took the distress ink pads directly to some acetate or plastic packaging. I sprayed or spritzed that with water, and then I'm just smushing and dragging it on to my watercolor paper. I wanted to add some more of that more teal or turquoise color back in, and I never can seem to leave well enough alone, and so I kind of muddied my colors together. And so you can add colors where you need to deepen or darken shades. So I heat set that, cleaned up my mess, and then I'm going to go back in with the color that I want to add on. And once you get the desired effect, you can either set that aside and let it dry, or if you're impatient like me, you can take your heat tool and heat it up and let it dry. When I was finished with that, I used some shimmer mist. And this does two things. You can spray it down just as you would water and kind of pick up some of that pigment and color, and it gives it a cool textured effect, but it also leaves the shimmer behind. So I love using that for that technique. Now these are the Clarity stencil brushes. I am so excited to get to use these for the very first time, and I wanted you to see what sizes there are and how huge the brushes are. And so I'm just rubbing that in over my distress ink. I'm starting off of my paper and I'm just going to drag it over. Just going back and forth, feathering that across. And here in just a minute, those snowflakes that we stamped down at the beginning. As you can see, they're starting to pop out, or that distress ink is starting to resist there where we stamped and added the embossing powder. I'm going on to another color, and I started kind of down in over the first color. That way I could get a good blend, and then I'm just working my way up the paper. And I want it to get lighter as I go up near the top. And I found with these brushes that if you just rub off on a paper towel or a cloth, you can rub the previous color off and then dip into a new ink pad. Again, I'm going to take that shimmer mist, and I'm going to give the card front a good misting, and then take a paper towel and just lay it over the top. And in some places it will pull up little spots of pigment, and then it lays a shimmer down over the whole sheet of paper. Now this is the Cat Scrappiness embossed rope dies. They leave, and I'm trying to show you the shimmer there and catch it in the light. They leave an awesome rope detail design around the edge of your paper. It comes in 6 different sizes in the packages. And so it leaves an awesome little stitched detail around your card fronts and around your papers. To color the snowmen, I am using my Copic markers. I stamped onto some smooth white cardstock using my Stampaholic stamping tool, and I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp the images down. Now to go around the snowman, I'm using a very, very light blue-green color, and that just leaves your white images where they're not just stark white. And I'm kind of blending that out or smoothing it out and dragging it with the colorless blender. There wasn't a whole lot to color on these images, and so these were really quick and easy. I colored one of the little snowman scarves with a blue-violet, really light blue-violet color, and then the other little snowman gets a teal or blue-green scarf. The little images and the little pieces of the scarf are so tiny, you almost don't need to use, I only use 2 colors, but you almost don't need to do that. You could get away with just coloring it in 1 color. And then I use some really light oranges, almost like a creamy peachy color, to do their noses. Because their scarves were so light, I didn't want to do a really bright, vibrant orange and make that really stand out for their nose. I don't have the dies for this set, so I fussy cut each little snowman, and their little arms were tough, not impossible to cut, but they were tough to cut out. So I got each of those cut out. And then I'm going to use 2 different thank you dies. One set, the set that says thank you, is a Cat Scrappiness design. And the other thanks is from Honeybee Stamps. And that comes from the Hello Gorgeous die set. And you can see there are two different little brushed scripty designs. And I'm going to add some liquid adhesive on the back of those. And I'm only going to show how I did one card front. I did the ending here the same way, adding the greeting and then adding some embellishments at the end. These are the cat Scrappiness. They're little iridescent snowflakes. They were perfect to go with this little snowman card and the design. And I use my crystal katana pickup tool and some multi-medium in the matte finish. And here are both of the finished cards. All of the supplies will be listed in the description box and can be found at catscrappiness.com. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.